promise me green grass, not to tell what you were. Whispering grass, say, you can't keep your word. Keep your word, sing lofty.
Why do you whisper green grass? Why tell the trees what ain't so? Whispering grass, the trees don't have to know. Don't know. Why tell them all your secrets? Who kissed there long ago? Whispering grass, the trees don't need to know. Don't you tell it to the breeze, for she will tell the birds and bees, and everyone will know, because you told the blabbering trees. Yes, you told them once before. It's no secret anymore. Why tell them all the old things they're buried under the snow? Whispering grass, don't tell the trees, 'cause the trees don't need to know.
Don't you tell it to the breeze, 'cause she will tell the birds and bees, and everyone will know, because you told the blabbering trees. Oh yes, you told them once before, and it is no secret anymore. I will not have gossip in this jungle.
Why tell them all the old things they're buried under the snow? Whispering grass, don't tell the trees, 'cause the trees don't need to.
And welcome to Black Dog number 145. Or is it 146?
I don't know.
Oh, for Christ's sake. I don't know. We'll put it up in the titles.
It's 100 and...
It's 140. Damn. Which I'm kind of at the moment tentatively labelling "fuck all happens," or the answer, my friend, is blowing on the wind.
Blowing on his knob.
I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
And this week we will be we'll be having a bit of chat. We'll be having a bit of news. We will be having your feedback. And we will be reviewing The Happening.
Yes.
I think we might have a Jim Moon's Profanasaurus, though I haven't checked Dropbox,
I
so I don't know. And also we'll be launching our competition, which we'll come to in a bit. But first, before we go into this week's anything, I was going to start off because we don't usually get feedback about the show. Normally it's a feedback about the film we're watching.
The film.
The fact that we got one about the show, I figured I might as well stick this right at the front, and then that way we can just say thank you very much and move on. And this piece of feedback comes from a new feedbacker called John Pidcock, who writes, "Hi all, I've just finished listening to all of your podcasts to date. Thank you for doing them. I feel that my considerable exposure to this in the last few months has qualified me to give some incisive opinions."
It's also qualified you for a nice padded room in a mental asylum somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Nice lie down in the darkened room.
All these people that come to say, I've listened to all 140 so-and-so of your podcasts within the space of 5 minutes. I've literally pissed them into my ear holes. I've got this special audio delivery system. I know I'm as mad as a bag of spanners.
I mean, when when you think about it, every single one of them ranges between an hour and 2 hours long on average.
They get longer as they go down the line, basically.
Yeah.
So, Christ almighty.
I mean, that's got to be, what is that, 290 hours minimum.
I
not
can only
including
listen
the
to myself
specials.
for about an hour and a half.
I can only listen to you for about an hour and a half.
Shut your face.
Anyway, so he carries on. I'm qualified to give some incisive opinions. So please, if you will, consider my notes on the show. Shitty superheroes sucks shit through a sock. Apart from that, excellent. Thanks very much, John.
Cheers, John.
Yeah. Useful.
You can't please everybody all the time.
Well, that's fair enough. I wonder what order he's been listening to them in, seeing as we haven't done Shitty Superheroes since January.
Yeah, they're a bit of a distant memory at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they kind of stopped just before Christmas. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you anyway, John. I don't know whether he was trolling or genuinely sending in feedback to tell us not to do any more Shitty Superheroes. Either way.
The only thing that's wrong with us is the shitty superheroes.
I think that's
I think
fine.
we're doing pretty well.
Though it might be Don Estelle as well by the end of this one.
I like that track.
You do?
Why tell the trees what it's so?
Yes, but it's only kind of funny when you can see the video with, what's his name, Windsor Davis asking about in the background.
I think Don Estelle just sings it very well. He's got a fine set of windpipes on him. His voice ain't bad either.
Oh.
Hey!
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, the other thing worth noting is that we won't be having a cast next week, which is why we have literally rushed the intro by putting Don Estelle on the front. So we're going to do, going to do the cast nice and early tonight, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks.
But I think we're going to leave you with a nice little sort of like, present just to tide you over.
Yeah, the movie for next week. Well, for the following.
We'll save it till later.
Yeah, we'll save it till later. But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I think we'll like it.
So, Darren, even though I suspect we've been pretty much doing the same things this week.
Yes.
How's your week been?
Week has been pretty good actually.
Yep.
One of the main things that's kind of cheered me up this week.
Yes.
Is there was a piece of, shall we say, bureaucracy in work.
Okay.
That was causing me an issue.
Right. Before you go any further, do you want to talk about this?
I don't mind. No, I'm just going to say,
shit out.
That it's not an issue for me any longer now. So my life has become a damn sight more happier in work.
Huzzah! So someone got fired.
No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just certain processes have been kind of tightened up. So my working life is a bit more. Yeah, it seems to be a bit more on an even flow now. So.
Welcome to the IT Business Practice Podcast with your host, Darren.
Indeed, yes. You may kiss the fun. So I love that advert. I love it. To infinity and beyond.
Which only half of our audience has probably heard.
I know. I think it's a Thompson Holiday advert or something like that.
Okie dokie.
But yes. So this week, of course, we did the thing, going out and doing
Leslie
our
Gold's thing.
Also, The Room, which we've also done the review of.
Which you can hear as the previous podcast we launched as a special on Sunday.
Indeed. And also, of course, the battle on the battlefield. Us warriors, brave few,
us brave 8 Black Dogians taking on the mighty alien horde.
I've got one thing to review, but before we do that, right? What do you personally think? I mean, you haven't really played the single player of Aliens yet, have you?
Not really. I had a little gander of it this morning, but to be quite honest, I'm not terribly impressed.
Well, I've got to say, it seems as though, the
multiplayer was a massive amount of fun.
The multiplayer was fantastic.
But the single player sucks arse, in my opinion.
To you, maybe. And I think to a lot of people it does. But to me, as far as I'm concerned, I sort of like yesterday bought a pair of headphones especially for the multiplayer. These great big Turtle Beach headphones.
Turtle head.
Which, like the ones that you've got, allow not only the speech from the Xbox Live, but also the in-game volume. So I'm sitting there thinking, right, okay, let's get some time in on the single player, just so we know what we're doing when we get in there, which buttons to press to do what. And I have to say, sat there by myself in a room with these headphones on, with the sound going literally all around me. The atmosphere was fantastic. I don't care whether the graphics are state of the art on this game. I would rather have a game with atmosphere than pretty sparkly graphics on it.
And for those of you who aren't on the Facebook group and don't actually know what the fuck we're actually talking about, we bought the as a collective, I think.
Yes, we all went out in force. I think.
Aliens, Colonial Marines. And then we had online games on the Xbox.
Yeah.
For anyone who bought it on the PS3 and the PC, okay, sorry, but that's it. It was on the Xbox. And
hey, don't apologise. They went and bought it on those systems. They made their choice, not us. We didn't make them do it. They could got it. Blah, 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 blah.
Anyway, so yes, so we are. So we did a game on Tuesday, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. We did it last night.
We will be having a game on Thursday, which is probably when some of these people will hear it. And if it's not, then we might be on a little bit later.
I may be dropping in at some point on Thursday.
Yes.
I'm going out doing stuff.
But anyway,
carry on, there may be other stuff I'm doing. Yeah. But I'd just like to say, I bought a box set this week on the off chance that it was any good. Okay.
What's that?
I bought the 2012 animated Avengers TV show.
Oh yes.
Now
it is good.
It's very good. I have to say that don't be put off by the fact that this thing came out in the same year as the actual movie. It is not just some cheap and nasty knockoff or cash in on the Avengers title. Trust me, if you've not seen it, I'm into episode 3 and they haven't even mentioned the word Avengers yet in it, because they're treating each... they're treating it like they treated the films, where each character gets his own episode, or each couple of characters. Now, I think the most one I've seen so far, up to episode 3, is the Hulk episode, and that's got Black Widow and Hawkeye in it as well. But we've had, the first episode was Iron Man.
Yes.
Second episode was Thor. And then the third episode is the Hulk. And there's none of this talking about them getting together. The only thing, there's a little bit of foreshadowing, a little bit about Tony Stark, people worrying about him being overworked, being Iron Man and doing all this stuff by himself. And that is the only inkling you've got that maybe down the line he's going to be getting help.
Yes.
But apart from that, no. And there's some really nice little... I mean, you can see there's foreshadowing for stuff that's coming up later. There is a general group of bad guys that kind of filters in into each story in one way or another. And it's building up very nicely. So cool. I really do recommend it. It's written very well. It's got stuff in it for kids in there, but it's also very much... if the adults are sitting there watching it, they're going to get something out of it as well.
It is rather interesting because it's been on telly. I think it's been on the Disney Channel, or it's been on
Fox,
and it's on
something like
FX or something in the mornings. But I tell you what's really interesting is the way they treat Miss Marvel, who will turn up, and it's interesting because Miss Marvel is going to turn up in the Avengers 2, or at least that's the rumor, and it's like. It's kind of nice that you're finally starting to get proper superheroes properly laying in. Because, I mean, Thor's like the only, what I would call a superhero, kind of, selfless and flying around and...
Well, yeah. Whereas, on the grand scale of powers, it's him and the Hulk. Those are like the real big heavy hitters.
Yeah, but you start throwing like Carol Danvers in there and she's like got everything Thor's got, and it's suddenly like, and a bit more. It's like starts to get a bit more interesting, but it'd be interesting to see where that kind of that kind of helps inform the Avengers 2 movie.
Just to say also that the actual animated show itself, apart from having Iron Man, the Hulk, Captain America in it, really it is its own beast. It's totally separate from the film. It's a different universe to the one that's in the film.
Yeah, but the characters are recognisable.
The characters are recognisable, but actually, I found Iron Man to be a bit more aggressive in this when he's having a go at S.H.I.E.L.D. because he does have a bit of a set-to with them about certain technologies and stuff. And it's just, you don't see Robert Downey Jr. kind of losing his head in this, where it's like in the show, in this, he kind of is like, his voice goes up, raises, he's really, you can hear that he's really fucking pissed off about something.
Yeah.
So... But it's the storyline itself, how the characters are going to get together. It is not a repeat of the film.
No.
Okay, so it is its own beast. The only sort of like similarities is the fact that it's called The Avengers and it's got the Hulk and so in it. So yeah, watch it. I highly recommend it. Only into the 3rd episode, but I am really, really enjoying it. I shouldn't have watched up to 3. It was like I put one episode on when I was like ironing my shirts for work, and it was just like it was like, oh wait, maybe one more. I'll have another one. Let's see how this goes. Or maybe we'll have one more. And then I realised what the time was, and it's like, shit, I've got to go to bed. Because otherwise I'm just going to be awake all night.
Nice.
So and for a tenner, for something like, I think it's like 24 episodes. This thing, it's well worth the money.
Yeah, it's the 2012 version of the Avengers, not any other version that's been done by Jack Kirby from like 1960s.
Not like that at all. No, this is it's very sort of. I think there's a slightly sort of anime quality to it. Not very much that it spoils it and goes over the top like in some anime.
It's a bit stylized.
Yeah, but I think it works. I think it works very well.
Cool.
So that's it. That's me. I'm done. That's it. Drop the mic.
Yeah, and out.
Peace out.
Peace out. So, well, yeah, I mean, we got to talk about Leslie's thing that we went to.
Oh,
that
definitely.
Was good
yes,
fun.
It was definitely.
Yeah, we went to a friend of ours, Leslie Gold. I don't know if she's listening, but she's definitely on the Facebook group. And it was her 10th year as an expat in the UK.
That's right, yep.
And so everyone had to turn up as either an American. English had to turn up as American, and the Americans had to turn up as English people, famous or fictional. Yep. And you turned up as?
I turned up as Colonel Sanders. And can I just say, right, just so that people get this round the right way, right, it wasn't me just stopped colouring my hair and let it all go grey. I almost gassed myself with this. I got this spray dye, right? It's like white spray dye. And my hair, right? I put this on, and I didn't realise it's like hairspray, but with colouring in it. So my head went as hard as rock. Right, I could have put my head in a tornado and it would have been hero hair. It wouldn't have moved at all. My 1980, early 1990s self would have been proud.
But I tell you what,
really would have.
What made me laugh was when you came in and you had the sort of moustache on. You had a little tiny white moustache and a little tiny white goatee thing going on.
Yep.
I the first thing I thought was you were like a 80-year-old Jimmy Hill.
What?
I don't know why. You just look like Jimmy Hill, the sports presenter.
Right, okay.
Wearing granddad glasses. It was only when I saw the rest of the white suit, it was Colonel Sanders.
Well, actually, when as I was coming out of the gents' toilet, there was I was going into it, and this bloke held the door open, and he went, "There you go, Colonel."
Yeah,
so, you know, they knew who I was.
Yes.
There you are.
Yes.
I had to keep taking the moustache and beard off every 5 minutes because the sweat started building up, so it started flopping off.
Yeah.
So I had to literally,
it's the problem when you actually have a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a false beard anyway. It doesn't allow your pores to breathe, you know.
Yeah. And I came as Tony Stark.
You certainly did.
Yeah. And, oh, man.
How's them radiation burns doing you?
That's, yeah. Basically, I decided that I didn't want to go in an Iron Man costume as much as I wanted to build one, but it was going to just
I would have loved to have seen what you would have made
with this Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because I was well into it. I was getting well into it. But basically, I bought a plastic, Starbucks thermos with a rubber lid.
Yep.
So I took the rubber lid. Then what I got was an E45 lid, jar of E45. Got the lid for that. Then what I did was I took 10 LEDs that I'd bought from Maplin's, pre-wired, and then I actually put those through a piece of card, cut the card to fit the E45 dish, and then put the Starbucks cup over the top of that, then wired all the LEDs into
genitals,
to my nuts, into a single string, and then into a single strand of wire, and then I took that wire and I led it to a 9-volt battery, which had a non-off case, and I had the Iron Man arc reactor.
It looked great while the T-shirt was over it.
It did.
When you fucking lifted it up and sport the illusion. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, man? Don't show them.
So then I bought myself from Primark a 4-pound long sleeve like jumper.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing cost me in total, I think, about sort of, not including the soldering iron, which I had to buy to get all the wires together.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it cost me about sort of 12 quid.
Oh, brilliant.
And And the funniest bit was, it was all cool because the LEDs were running quite cool. But then I realised I had to have it sort of stuck to my chest, otherwise it kind of sort of drooped off into the jumper. So I got black gaffer tape and strapped it to my chest.
Oh, of course you did, yes.
And then I got all the wires and I strapped those down with the black gaffer tape as well. The problem was, what I didn't realise was, if you got these LEDs on, they all run pretty cool. But that heat's got to go somewhere. And the problem was, as I didn't realise, was that because I'd put the coffee lid on, the plastic coffee lid, that actually there's an insulator. So what happened was, slowly but surely, the thing got hotter and hotter inside. But then the only way the heat could go out was through this hole that I'd made for the LEDs in the bottom of the E45 jar.
Yeah.
So what happened was, there was this gentle blow of heat right into my centre of my heart, where all the heat was coming from. And it was getting hotter and hotter. And then what happened was, because I was starting to sweat, a little bit of the black gaffer tape that was covering one of the solder joins slipped. And so then what I had was, I had a solder join touching my nipple.
Oh, that was where... Oh, do you know what? Because I did wonder why it is you were doing flick-flacks up and down the bar. So...
So that was getting hotter and hotter because the heat was travelling down the cable from the LEDs.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just so you know, I'm not just wussing out here. This thing was on for a full 5 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we got there just after 7, and we didn't.
Was it at that point you started picking up the police radio signals
on me fillings? Yeah. And and I didn't turn it off. I actually kept it on the train and everything on the way home, because I was pretty drunk by that point. I'm like, yeah, get a load of this. And by the time I got home, so it must have been about 1 o'clock in the morning. So what's that, 8 till 1?
Yeah, something like that.
So that's how long this thing was on. And then basically, when I turned it off and everything cooled down, I think the solder just cooled down, and it basically had done something to one of the hairs around my nipple. And so then when I took it off, man alive, I felt like I had a backsack and crack wax on my chest. And then when the cold air hit the area that had been heated up, it felt like I'd set my chest on fire.
Oh, man.
Because it was really weird, because it was like the temperature difference.
Yeah.
Suddenly you became very aware of how cold everything was in that particular spot.
Oh, good
And it was like, oh, Jesus Christ, fucking hell. And even now, what is it? We're talking 5 days since then? Yeah. I've still got little sore patches just up above my nipples. It really hurts.
Oh.
So there you go. But it did look fucking good.
Yes, it did. It's very, very effective. I think we all had a good laugh that
Yes,
night.
it was a very good time had by all. And unfortunately, the photographs came through and started going up. And while the chest piece looked good, my double chin, because I didn't have any collar, looked awful. And after all of that lot, after looking at all that lot, the first thing I did wasn't go, oh yeah, I'm going to make another Tony Stark art reactor for the next party, or make it better than the last time. What I did was got on the Argos website and bought myself a fucking exercise bike, which you can see over there.
Do you know what? I remember that's what I said to you when we were standing there in the passage, and I said, "You look like Jeff Lynne with a battery shoved up his arse." That was it.
Evil woman, digga 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 digga. Oh, my chest, smoking beard.
Exactly.
So then I bought an exercise bike, which is over there, and I've been on it. I've been on it every day since buying it.
Have you?
Yeah. That's why when you turned up with the bloody the Fox's cookies, I'm like, oh, you fuck. I've got no willpower.
I'm sorry about it. Had I known, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near that shop.
That's fair enough.
They were lovely.
They were nice though, weren't they?
Oh, good lord.
And
what are they called? Ambers, those things.
Yeah.
Chocolate covered sort of.
The Black Dog podcast is sponsored by Fox's Ambers.
Yeah, if you want to send us some ambers,
yes, we'll happily endorse you.
Fucking crate of them if you wouldn't mind, please. And a cup of tea the size of fucking
Michigan.
Downham swimming bars.
So I got this thing. So I got this exercise bike, and it was all in bits. So then, spurred on by my previous DIY magnificence of building an arc reactor without killing myself, though I did actually set fire to the tablecloth. If you look at the tablecloth, there's some spots.
Oh yes. Oh, I see.
There's some spots and stuff where basically the solder fell down, and I was like, oh. But anyway,
You weren't soldering in the nude then? Cause,
No,
I wouldn't be surprised.
no, I wasn't. But every now and again, I was sort of trying it out, see how bright it was by switching it on and stuffing it on my jumper.
It was very bright.
Yeah, it was very
Very
bright.
bright.
It was very bright.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to build this exercise bike, and I thought, oh, this is really going well. Bolts, pretty straightforward. I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. And then what I'd managed to do was, as I'm strapping it all together and doing all this sort of thing,
Yeah.
I went to get up. And I'm like, oh yeah, strap. Now, can you see how I'm sitting right now?
Yeah.
Would you like to just describe to the listeners how I'm sitting right now?
You look a bit like Roger Whittaker used to look when he was sat on his bar stool.
Describe it to someone under the age of 40.
Okay, imagine an easy listening singer, something along the lines of Rolf Harris.
Right.
They're on stage, just on his bar stool. You've got one leg crossed over the other.
Right.
Well,
where's my other foot?
Your other foot is
It's tucking out at 90 degrees.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing was, I was doing that, and I was building the thing, and then I stood up, and I realised what I'd done is I put a bolt straight through my sock. And I had not through my foot.
Oh, right.
Through my sock, because I was wearing thin socks. And so then when I stood up, I dragged the entire fucking thing. I stood up and the whole thing went, and I've got like this sort of half a ton, it was just like 17 kilos or something, 17 kilos of bike just sort of hanging off my foot.
Wonderful.
I had to then I had to promptly, I stood up and basically
Fuck,
fell.
did you put a bolt through your sock?
Well, it wasn't actually right through the sock. It was kind of tucking through the end of the foot, and it sort of pushed the bolt into the hole, and it was on the base, and I stood up and basically dragged the whole thing and fell flat on my face, and then I had to sort of hurriedly look around for a tool so I could undo the fucking. Well, actually, I didn't need to look very far for a tool. I was a complete tool.
Yeah,
at that point.
there you
So
go.
there you go.
I do have this image of you falling on the floor going, and then looking up because there's suddenly the shadow. It's like the fucking bike coming
comes
down on top
over.
of you. His family's pair of legs sticking out from under his fucking exercise bike. They sort of like twitch a bit and then just stop.
yeah, the pulse meter on the front starts going down. Yeah, the pulse meter on this bike actually registered his time of death and said that he
Wonderful.
travelled 4 miles and used up 3 calories.
Oh, God.
Yes, so there you go. That was it. Apart from that, no news at work. Got an email back from Lucasfilm.
You did.
Yes.
And?
Can't really say too much at the moment.
Okay. But is it promising?
It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not good. It's just there.
It's just indifferent.
Well, there is one piece of news I could tell you, but it's all a bit hush-hush.
Well, then don't tease us with it. Fucking hellfire.
But at least I can tell you that something's happening.
I know something you don't.
Yes.
And now I'm going to fuck off.
Yes. By the way, I just like to say...
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
I know something I'd like to tell you, but I'm not going to. Then
Yes.
don't fucking mention it.
But I like mentioning it. I like mentioning the fact that I know.
You just so want to say, don't you?
I do,
Yeah.
but I can't.
Nope. It's
So
killing
I
you,
won't.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Shall we have some news?
Let's have some news. Hey, we're gonna hear some news now.
Right, news. There's not a lot of news this week, but one piece of news which has kind of come to light is, do you remember last week, I think it was, we were talking about Justice League being on hold until everyone sees how Man of Steel is doing?
Yes.
Well, now it looks like they're going to reboot Batman. And the reboot of Batman is prepping, but they want to see how Justice League does before doing the reboot. So it's like, hold on, I'll give you the exact quote from an insider, which is also featured on the website Batman on Film. says, I believe they're now introducing the rebooted Batman into a solo film, though it will likely take place later than initially planned. The Warner Brothers are extremely worried how the Batman film franchise would be affected if Justice League bombs. So, basically, they're going to reboot Batman, but they won't reboot it until Justice League comes out, and then they'll basically do it based on how that performs. So, going further on, it says all of this is up in the air, not a lot, and a lot of it is based on how well Man of Steel performs. If that movie is a hit, then Batman could wait until Man of Steel 3. If it's a flop, however, and Justice League doesn't get off the ground, Batman will be rebooted much, much sooner. So basically, DC and Warner Brothers have Batman in the back pocket as a Joker to pull out of the pack if they need to. See, I mean, to me, that just seems like madness.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like DC Comics is Bizarro World. Okay, it's the dark mirror of Marvel, right? Where Marvel, this is what we're going to do: is we're going to make one movie for this character, one for this one, one for this one, one for this one. Introduce them all in these set of films here, and then we're going to make the Avengers and bring them all together, and we're going to fucking, we can forget all that exposition about who they are and where they've come from because we've already done it. And DC are kind of like, oh yeah, let's get all our people into a movie. But what we'll do is we'll do it the arse about face way. First of all, we'll have one hero out there, right, with the Man of Steel, and then we'll make the big conglomerate movie, and then maybe we'll think about rebooting Batman. And hold on, doesn't the Justice League movie actually mean that we've rebooted Batman already before we've actually had the official reboot?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's mental.
Yeah, I don't know how it's. I mean, to me, it just seems like they're just set. It just seems like there's like three different people coming up with three different ideas and then hoping to make it all fit together.
Well, if this is the way they're going to do it, then I really hope the Man of Steel flops. In that case,
really,
yeah, because it's going to be a fuck up, the whole thing. It really is. It's just going to be this. It's going to be embarrassing,
Well, yeah,
it's not going to. You can't possibly take that sort of fucking. Oh no, we won't do this because it might flop. Yeah, so what? Marvel went ahead and they put their fucking bollocks on the line. And look how it paid back, right? They had like one of the highest grossing movies last year.
Yeah.
That's it, The whole thing came together nicely. Whatever you may think of the Avengers, it was a great business model for that. It was fantastic. Really, really good planning. DC don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No shit.
They've got all the major things there. They've got all this great stuff they could choose from, and they're just fucking wanking it up a wall. They really are. It's just
they've got all the opportunities, but then every time they've tried to make something, they just make it crap. Green Lantern,
brains in their fucking arse.
Yes,
yeah.
So not impressed them.
Well, you know what? Even again, it's like, so what if the Green Lantern had been bad? If you'd you'd built it into the universe and started expanding to show, look, we're not just doing, this is the world's only one superhero. So you don't get that in comics, do you? You get like whole reams of superheroes in worlds. Let's do something like that. Learn from Marvel.
Yeah,
I
don't think that's the problem. I don't think they actually know what Marvel did that worked.
It's right there in front
of them. I know
it
is, but it
even a fucking chipmunk could fucking well see what they did right there. It's plain as fucking day.
Maybe they will. They'll bring in Chip, the Green Lantern squirrel.
Oh yeah, great, fantastic. Yeah, let him have a movie all by himself. There you go.
And Batmite.
Batmite.
But anyway, right. The other piece of news. Well, actually, there's another piece of news we'll go to in a minute, but. The other piece of news is that Jack Arnold's 1957 The Incredible Shrinking Man, based on Richard Matheson's book of the same name, is being rebooted. Universal apparently had a version in the works for years that never got off the ground, which was slated to star Eddie Murphy and be a comedy.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that didn't happen.
But the universe dodged a bullet. However, there is obviously somewhere in the metaverse a universe where that came out. But luckily, it's not this one. So, anyway, Richard Matheson and Richard Matheson Jr., his son, is now pitching in the novel again to Universal, and they've said yes, and they're going to do it. There's been some rewrites. It's no longer pesticides and radiation, which makes him start to shrink.
Really?
Yeah. So spoilers. Sorry. Well, it's 1957. For fuck's sake, there's got to be a statute of limitations on the spoilers.
What is it then?
It's nanotech. Nanotechnology. So yes. At the moment, was it Richard Matheson says, the film is an existential action movie. My original story was a metaphor for how man's place in the world was diminishing. This still holds today. Where all these advancements that are going to save us, where are they? And will they be our undoing? I also know that there's no guarantee that this will happen. MGM announced a remake, are announcing remake after remake, but few have actually gone anywhere. The other problem is, looming on the horizon is, Avengers Phase 2, which will obviously start to ramp up towards Ant-Man movie. So the race is on to get the shrinky-dinky superhero movie out first. There's not much else details. Apparently, like I say, it's gone as a script written by Matheson, so could be good. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know enough about it. It's been so long since I've seen the bloody Incredible Shrinking Man anyway. I don't know what they could do that would be new, apart from CGI spiders, which you know would happen. What do you think? I mean, do you like the film? Have you seen the film before? Do you want to see a reboot, or...?
Well, it's just I think I saw the film when I was really, really young, but I don't really have any memories of it or whatever. But well, I mean that I don't know. Yeah, fine. Yeah, a reboot. I'll probably sit and watch it. But nanotechnology.
Why not? It's just the thing of the hour, isn't it? It's just that particular. Hey, guess what, guys? This is the new bogeyman. Genetics. It could have been. That would have been the other one, genetic manipulation.
Well, I'd like to know how they explain that nanobots are the things that are making him shrink, really, seeing as... No, whatever, I'm sure they'll figure it out.
I don't know, I'm sure they'll make it up as they go along. A little aside piece of news, which may shake the fandom of movies in general to its core. A team which makes like online TV show called Real Physics, which is also on the escapistmagazine.com.
Yeah.
They tackle a scene from a particular movie. Then what they do is they use physics to work out whether or not it would work, whether or not it's possible, whether or not the outcome is right. And their opening one, for example, was about the A-Team when the tank comes out of the back of the C-130 and basically steers itself into the water, and worked out that actually it is possible.
Ooh, right.
It is completely possible, and everything's plausible, and everything that happens is absolutely correct.
I can see how that news would change the world.
Well, no. This week, they tackled one. They tackled Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh,
and most fundamentally,
fuck off. No,
they tested.
Don't you dare.
They tested the fridge.
Don't you swear at me now.
And
you go wash that mouth out.
There was only one physical implausibility in that scene. Everything else was utterly plausible and actually had physics to back it up. So the whole nuking the fridge thing has now become null and void. The only bit that wasn't plausible, do you know what that was?
There actually being a fridge big enough to contain Harrison Ford.
No, that's fine. That's correct. The fridge would have been lead-lined, though lead-lined fridges actually stopped in the very early 50s, so it's kind of a bit of a debate whether or not it would be in that building.
Yeah.
But the actual only thing that wasn't physically possible there was the scene where basically when the nuke hits, and the shockwave basically blasts along, destroys the building.
Yeah.
The shockwave travels in a straight line.
Okay.
Or it's sort of outwards.
Yeah.
And along the short of it was that it travels at a constant speed. And so therefore, if the car had like 5 minutes ahead and then everything got blown up, then you wouldn't the fridge would not have caught that car up and would not be flying through the air. It would just be blasted along the floor. So it would just have travelled along the floor and rolled along the floor. But as far as everything else is concerned, could you survive a nuclear explosion inside a lead-lined fridge? Yes. Could you survive the impact? Then anyone in there would have been subjected to about between 3 and 5 G's worth of force.
Yeah.
And actually, given the distance from the explosion to the village and all this kind of thing, he could have actually done it.
So
it could have actually been done.
Forgetting the total lack of oxygen in the area, seeing as all the oxygen would be burned up by the massive fireball.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously there's the whole thing about incredible heat, but it was actually an underground explosion. See, and so unfortunately, fans of memes and stuff can have to go and cry.
Still a shit film.
It's still a shit film, but you would have to go and cry into your gopher hole, unfortunately, because nuke the fridge as a term to explain something that's failed is actually incorrect.
So, they said that other thing you were testing us about is the only incorrect thing in it.
Yeah, they would fly over the top of the car and beat the car to the same destination.
So, did they try firing an old man through a window arse first and see if he broke a fucking hip?
No, well, in theory, he basically was packed in really tight. He was actually packed inside the actual inside of that thing. So the only thing he would have done, he would have suffered injuries. He might have broken bones, but he would not have been killed or turned into mush as most people
it's just
thought.
I want to know if he would have broken a hip, because that's a windscreen he put his arse through.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, you meant a bit when he's swinging and he fucking lands on the truck arse first.
That's not what they're testing. They don't test that. They just test one particular scene.
I would still like to see them test that, please.
Well, no, he'd probably be cut in half by that.
Well, there you go. We need proof.
Take Harrison Ford and fire him.
Pictures or shut the fuck up.
through the roof of... Yeah. So anyway, it was really interesting. And unfortunately quite upsetting, because you suddenly sitting there going, nuke the fridge. Oh, it doesn't... It's symbolic, but it's not like jumping the shark anymore. There you go. On other news, Lawrence Kasdan has turned around and said he's not using the EU canon from Star Wars back history, extended universe, anything for any of his movies. Which means, yes.
Some of us may actually have a chance then of knowing what's going on.
Yes. Well, actually, we had a big long debate about that on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups, the Black Dog Podcast. And basically... yeah, I can only applaud the complete dismissal of the EU of Star Wars.
I bet when he announced that, it was as if 1,000 voices cried out at once.
Well, a few people aren't happy about it. I mean, the article that it was posted in was quite inflammatory, so I will say that it probably wasn't the best way to introduce it to the Facebook group, so there was a bit of a bristling there. But right. I will say that the inherently EU, to me, is fairly... inconsequential, and I find it's usually
fan wank.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, a lot of it's fan wank. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it is, and a lot of it's just wish fulfillment, filling in blanks to patch over story holes in the actual films, rather than taking anything in an interesting direction.
Plus, also,
Boba Fett gets out of Sarlacc pit. Yeah.
Plus, also the whole thing, that rule of if it's not seen in the film, then it don't exist.
Don't exist, exactly.
Yeah. Why do we need to read 14 billion books just to?
So
understand something.
That's quite encouraging, I think. But obviously, the other thing is, as I said on the Facebook group, EU tends to be stuff that fans used to beat a movie to death with, and that to me is another reason why we don't need it. And I'm quite glad it's not happening or having any influence on the new Star Wars films. Just if you want to stick to some story, stick with the Skywalker clan if you must, but don't get into this whole Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit, or Yoda was actually quite a badass because in the Tales of the Bounty Hunter he went to Mos Eisley on the way to Dagobah. There's like
get shopping.
Yes, just get your shopping. I mean, so yeah, anything like that, because it just isolates people. It isolates the main audience, which is the target audience. So it's quite a canny move to leave all that stuff alone. If you like it, fine, go for it. But just, nah, not for me. And I'm quite glad they're not doing it. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think that's news.
Okay.
Got anything else to add? I'll take that as a no. Right.
Yeah, you take that as a no.
Right, I'm going to see if there's a Jim Moon Profanasaurus for us.
Let's do it.
Stevie Wonder's piano. Synonym. For a film, book, TV show, or similar media property that you know is so terrible that you'll never, ever, ever see it.
That is fucking genius. Thank you so much for that, Jim. Jim, of course, does Hypnobobs, which you can hear. He hasn't released this week's episode.
He has. I didn't. Do you know what? I was waiting for that to come down. I'm thinking,
No.
is the feed broken?
No. Something's going on. And if it's something bad, we hope it gets better, Jim. And if it's not, then where's our fucking podcast, you bastard?
If it is bad, we hope it does get better. Remember, you can get a cream for it.
Yeah.
So otherwise, it'll drop off and roll away under the sofa, and you'll never get it back.
Anyway, thank you, Jim. You can hear Jim's podcast at hypnogoria.com, iTunes, and Geek Planet Online. And we'll no doubt hear from him a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Right. Well, before we go into shit cover goggles, we have to announce our little competition. And our little competition is for, basically a slightly faded signed copy of The Room, Tommy Wiseau's The Room on Blu-ray. Now, I got this. It was signed by the man himself, standing right in front of me, and I think Greg.
Yeah, he just put a little scribble on the back.
Did a little squiggle on it as well. Greg Stastaro, or whatever it is.
Who seemed to look
very
so
bored.
happy being there.
He was about as happy at being there as I was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a Blu-ray. It is region free, so if our friends overseas wish to take part, you are more than welcome to. And yes, it's signed by the man himself and Greg, and so we were trying to think what would be a really good competition for this. And, because we know that there are people who love The Room. There are people who hate The Room, myself included, but there are people who love The Room. And so we were trying to think of it. And I was going through the old episode of The Room when me and Darren had a little talk about it. And Darren described him as a living waxwork.
No, actually,
with a melty face.
I said he was a haunted candle.
Haunted candle, that's right. And it got me thinking, so we've got a competition, we've got a prize.
Get the stand there,
and the prize is obviously the Blu-ray. The competition is this. And when should we have the announcement? We shall not next, because when we come back, or the week after. Should we do it for the end of February?
Well, you see, if we have it sort of like on Saturday night, then I can save you. If Melissa and Sean win it, then I'll save you some postage.
No. I can send it through work. No, I'll tell you what. By the end of February, by February the 28th, Monday, February. Is it Monday or Friday? February the 28th.
February the 28th, I think.
Yes, we're all planned.
It's about
here.
a Wednesday, I think.
Yeah,
or something. We'll find out in a minute.
Okay, let's have a look.
Talk amongst yourself for a moment.
Where's my calendar? Where's my bloody month? Right, yes. So, Thursday, the 28th of February.
Yep.
Yes, Thursday, the 28th of February. You have until then to get in your best Tommy Wiseau. I want you to create a Tommy Wiseau, be it out of poo, clay, ready brick, yogurt, melty candle, whatever you like. It can be a face, or it can be a whole body, or it could be the whole thing. But basically, make a Tommy Wiseau, take a photograph of it. I want a photograph of you beside it or next to it or near it, because I don't want photoshopped of someone just going off to Google and getting a Google image of a fucking waxwork. So, provable photographic evidence that you've made this thing.
You will get extra kudos points as well if you can.
If it really looks like
us,
it.
If you can send us a working diorama of the naval fucking scene. So,
yeah, we'll give bonus points for that.
With Tommy Wiseau's wrinkly arse moving up and down.
Don't remind me of such things. So anyway, yes. So get creative. Get creative. You've got until the 28th. That's the end of the month.
Yeah.
If it comes in a little bit later or a little bit earlier, that's fine. But basically, we're going to cut it off at the end of the month and send us in your best Tommy Wiseau picture based on any creative medium you care to mention, but it must include a photo of you either making it, standing beside it, or being near it, so that we're not getting some Googled up image bollocks. Okay, and send it in to Blackdog Podcast, Blackdog at Geek Planet. Sorry, the Blackdog Podcast which is blackdog@geekplanetonline.com. And if you want, also title the subject matter as My Tommy Wiseau, and then your name, so that we can at least look it. And the best one will win the Blu-ray, or signed Blu-ray of The Room. There you go. So that's that. Without any further ado, I guess we must do it. We must move on to this week's shit-covered goggles. And it can only be this.
Is it shit-covered goggles? I thought it was a rose-tinted specs.
Well, it could be. Or it could be a really weird episode of Gardener's World.
I think it'd just be like the torture fucking dungeon. That's what it is.
It's The Happening.
We watched it together. Our hopes, they were high. But as the film rolled, we started to cry. Was the director to blame for hyping the crowd? Will we ever trust that cunt again? It's your cover goggles.
Please put down the microphone. You have 10 seconds to comply.
Your cover goggles.
5 seconds. 4.
Your cover goggles.
I'm now authorized to use physical force.
Right, okay, The Happening, directed by M. Night Shamalamadingdong.
Who put the charm in a bomb?
Who put the ram in the ram-a-ding-dong? Yeah, sorry. Anyway, we won't get too far into that. I'm sure we're going to use that again and again and again.
I'm sure we do. If we do another one of these films, we'll do the complete song.
Yeah. Anyway. It's already gone off the rails. Anyway, so directed by M. Night Shamalamadingdong, produced by M. Night Shamalamadingdong, written by M. Night Shamalamadingdong.
This is starting to sound a bit like The Room now.
starring M. Night Shamalamadingdong.
He was in it?
Yeah, he was Joey on the phone.
Oh, right. Oh.
Mark Wahlberg, say hello to your mother too.
Yeah, say hello to your mum for me.
Zoe Dutch Channel.
Yeah. Red
John,
Hot and Dutch.
Red Hot and Dutch Channel. Zoe Dutch Channel. Deschanel. John Leguizamo. Betty Buckley. Music by James Newton Howard, who did much better stuff when he was working on Batman. And And actually, his science score was really good as well. Released by 20th Century Fox on June 13, 2008. Had a running time of 91 minutes, budget of 48 million, and actually took at the box office 163 million.
Really?
Yep. Christ. So there you go. In January 2007, Shamalamadingdong submitted a spec script entitled The Green Effect to various studios, but none expressed any interest enough, and certainly not enough to purchase it. The director collected ideas and notes from meetings and returned home to Philadelphia to rewrite it. And finally, 20th Century Fox greenlit the project. Now entitled The Happening, the film was produced by Shamalaman and Barry Mandel, and it was the former's first R-rated project. On March the 15th, 2007, Shamalamadingdong describes the film as a paranoia movie from the 1960s along the line of The Birds and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Much later in March, Wahlberg, with whom Shamalaman had been negotiating at the same time for his deal with Fox, cast into the lead role of the $57 million project. Shamalaman has previously cast Wahlberg's brother Donnie in The Sixth Sense. An Indian-based company, UTV, co-financed the project 50%, and that was that. There is absolutely nothing else in the production notes.
Really? There's a surprise.
Yeah, now, critical reception. Whoa, now that's a bigger section. The Happening has received mostly negative reviews from film critics and for its plot and performances. Rotten Tomatoes reported it as 17%, based on 168 reviews. Metacritic, which assigns a normalised rating out of 100, gave it 34 out of 100. On June 8th, 2008, days before the first reviews for the film came in online, M. Night Shyamalan had this to say in the New York Daily News. "We're making an excellent B-movie. That's our goal." Some critics enjoyed it because of this. In fact, Glenn Whipp said, tamping down the self-righteous seriousness in favour of some horrific silliness, M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening plays as a genuinely enjoyable B-movie for anyone inclined or able to see it that way. Kurt Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter said the film lacked cinematic intrigue and nail-biting tension, and that the central menace does not pan out to any kind of Friday night entertainment. Variety's Justin Lang felt it covers territory already overtilled by countless disaster movies and zombie movies, offering little in the way of suspense or visceral kicks. And it goes on. Everyone is basically giving it a fucking kick in. Let's move down. Fucking hell, keep scrolling down. The film was nominated for 4 Razzie Awards for Worst Actor, Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay. Doesn't say if they actually won. And that's
probably did.
That. I'm going to leave it there, because really, that's about all you need to know. So, Darren, what do you think of The Happening?
Now, I do like my post-apocalyptic thrillers. I do like my, society has been hit by this massive thing and it's now starting to crumble.
Yeah.
Stuff. I don't really get the impression in this that society is... I don't really get that fear coming from it.
Right.
This film, it doesn't read anything like that at all, to tell you the truth. Okay, well, look, imagine this, right? This is how stupid some of the writing in this film is, right? You learn that something, right, is going to kill you, right? There is a certain thing that's going to take you out, right, if you get too close to it, if you go anywhere near it, right? So what do? Do you, A, avoid it like the plague, i.e., do you go to concrete built-up areas and just stay there where there is no trees, no anything at all? Or do you go walking across a field? Do you drive out to the country where, well, there has to be a fucking abundance of this shit, okay?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, let's drive right into the heart of the enemy territory, shall we? And, wave a big, woo, look at me.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, to begin with, the opening is quite effective, right?
Yeah,
the whole thing of like the suicides, and it's like, you know, seeing the building, people jumping off of buildings, and
not even jumping, just walking straight off.
Exactly, and it's the look on people's faces when it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
you know, and it's that if you'd taken that and done something else with it, you know, given it some other
the rapture or something.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. You know, or like a madness that affects people, or, you know, the human race every so many thousands of years or whatever. You know, and it's coming back again. Then maybe you could have made a really, really good film about it. And, you know, I like the opening of the film. I like what happens there, and, you know, this sudden people just stopping.
Yeah. And then they walk backwards.
Yeah, and they repeat a word or a phrase or a sentence, you know, and then they go completely doolally. One of the most effective parts in this film, by the way, for me, apart from liking that first part, the one thing that gave me the creeps in this was basically Mark Wahlberg in the house, right? Okay, he's in that house in the country. It's getting near the end of the film.
Yeah.
And they meet that completely fucking bonkers off her knockers old woman, right? Okay, who starts accusing him of shit.
Yeah.
You know, invites him in, slaps the girl's hand.
Yeah.
It's the bit where she's been affected by what's going on. And you just see her outside, and it's kind of like that. Creep me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Where you see her like...
knocking her head against the wall.
No, it's not that. It's before, when you see suddenly this figure moving around outside. And it was just something about that kind of set the heckles up, you know, on the back of my neck and stuff like that.
Nicely shot scene.
Yeah, there are some really good bits in it. It's like, you know, the whole suicide thing. But, and I do like the car crash, the self-induced car crash with John is it Leguizamo?
Leguizamo. Yeah,
Leguizamo. It's where they get in the car, the car stops, and then all of a sudden the foot goes down, and he's like, oh, fuck, where are they going?
Yeah.
Hit the tree, fly straight out the front.
Yeah.
You know? And then he sits there trying to fucking have his own wrist with the bits of broken glass.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are good bits in it. But all in all,
yeah,
I don't know, it's just this... It's the same sort of problem I had with one part of 28 Days Later, where there hasn't been that much time for this thing to take place, and all of a sudden everybody turns into a complete and utter cunt.
Yes.
You know, those people in the house, you know, they know these people are not infected, you know, and yet they shoot the boys in the head.
Yeah, but in fairness, the boys were being arseholes, and they were dealing with hillbillies who were off the beaten track by a good fucking couple of miles.
I suppose so, but
you know, the bloke, I can't believe I'm defending this film, but do you know the estate agent?
Yeah.
When they're all standing there with the soldier.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the estate agent, you know, says, "Oh, this place isn't even on the map yet." You know, so it's straight away, you know, you're walking into sort of like Texas Chainsaw territory right away. Yeah, so to be quite honest, those two kids, but they just seem to turn up just to basically get fucking hacked down, to be honest. But anyway, go on, carry on. Sorry.
So,
what do you think of Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. Well, this is it. You see, I know. As amazing as it may seem, I know Mark Wahlberg can do a lot better than this himself. I mean, I've seen him because I love the film Ted, and I thought he was really good in Ted. Right? Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because this wasn't a comedy, but I thought he did comedy really, really well in Ted.
He was really good in The Departed.
I've not seen The Departed.
Okay, fair enough.
So, you know, he's not a total loss. This is it. We know he can actually... Maybe it's the director, I don't know. You know, he needs to be pushed and fucking corralled into that, you know.
Yeah, go on.
So...
Don't mind me, I'm just trying to get to the emails. That's
I guessed you were. Yep. So, yeah, it's just stupid little things that, you know, they do. The whole thing with the train about, we've lost contact with everybody, so we're going to stop the train and get everybody off.
That did seem like just another reason. It was just... Oh, God, it just seemed like everyone was just dropping exposition.
Yeah.
Everyone just turned up to just say their bits. And there was no, go on, carry on. Yeah, that really wound me up, that. Oh, God, proceed anyway.
And it's like, okay, so look, you guys can literally, just about outrun this this wave
it's in the wind.
Well, that's another thing as well. You're telling me it's the plants, but so you're telling me they can control the wind as well now. Is that what it is?
Well,
or is this just because you ran out of fucking budget and couldn't be bothered to have some other representation of this thing taking place? You had to get a big fucking wind machine, or get your low-pass helicopter coming in,
Yeah, that was pretty piss poor. But I don't know. I just So what about Zooey Dutch Channel, Boggle-eyed Dutch Channel? What did you think of her?
Not really that much. I see. This is the thing. There's a lot of people out there who find her so incredibly attractive. And she's so damn sexy. It doesn't work on me with her. She's, there's something that magic I'm obviously missing about this girl, that everybody else really thinks she's super and fantastic. And look at her, she's so trendy and hip because she's Zooey Deschanel, it doesn't work like that with me, with her. Yeah. I can't see it, but then again, that's just my opinion of it.
I don't know. I think some people have a love for the slightly vacant.
Yeah, obviously. I'm quirky. Look at me. I'm quirky. I'm going to be quirky. And by the way, did I tell you? I'm quirky.
Yeah. I'm just not in the right headspace right now. I don't like giving out my emotions. Oh, my word. He guessed. Okay, I'm going to get involved now because basically...
Bring it on, man.
Because basically, what's her big emotional...
She went for a bit of cheesecake with someone or something. I don't know.
Yeah. She sat there and ate tiramisu with a person.
Yeah.
She ate tiramisu. Right. That's your big drama, is it? That's your big emotion.
Tell him.
She didn't tell him.
She didn't tell. She said she was going home, or she told. I think she told Mark Wahlberg's character that
but the film just rattles along without any build up whatsoever. It just happens. Things just happen, which is kind of ironic given the title, but it's just like 1 minute you're sitting there and it's like, I'm giving you a really interesting discussion about bees. Why am I doing this? I don't know, because it might fit in with the next scene. That's it. There's no... I don't know. It just doesn't... It didn't feel like there was any actual script writing. There was just a bunch of scene stuff together. Because, within seconds, people have committed suicide, right? That's fine. That's a big event. And that happened in New York. But then what happened? Well, that happened in New York, so we're evacuating all the schools in Philadelphia. Right. Why? Because we got to get everyone on the run, basically. And it's like, next thing you know, everyone's in the central station. There's no panic. No one's going on. And then it's like John Leguizamo saying, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm just going to... Yeah, my wife's out getting a present for my daughter and let's all go back to my house in Philly.
There only seems to be about 300 people in Philadelphia by the looks of that station.
And it's just like, what? And then you got this stupid fucking emotional thing going on with Zooey Deschanel. Oh, I don't really to give out my feelings just yet. I'm also worried. Please don't call me again. This bloke's calling. You're thinking, right, okay. And it's like, what? And then out of nowhere, John Leguizamo says, oh yeah, she married you, but she didn't really fancy it. I just thought I'd bring it up now. It's like, oh right, so there's some like global national disaster going on. People are dying everywhere, but I think I should bring up right now that when I saw your girlfriend at the wedding, she was crying. So she's not really into you. That I'll just drop that right there.
In the words of Tony the Tiger, I'm feeling great.
Exactly. It's like, why tell me that now? What the fuck are you telling me that now for? And then it's like, on top of that, you got Mark Wahlberg sort of wandering around like a zombie for 90% of the film. And he's doing things like, oh, I'm just putting the pieces together, making a hypothesis, test it out, make a hypothesis, test it out. And he does nothing of that. He just sits there staring at it. And then some fucking hillbilly goes, I bet it's the plants. 20 minutes in. 20 minutes in, because I was watching that fucking DVD counter. 20 minutes in, the plot, the reason, the excuse, and the why, everything in it is 20 minutes in. The rest of the film, of a 91-minute film, is complete pointlessness. And it's like, right, okay, so, and then there's a bloke, then it cuts to another bloke going on the telly going, oh yes, well actually, it's going to get worse and worse and worse and more hypersensitivity until eventually it hits a saturation point and then basically it'll stop. And it's like, right, so you've given us the fucking finale as well. And it says, and you even see the graph. They see the graph, and he says, "Oh, there'll be a sharp decline instantly." And it's like the graph actually says 9:37. Then it cuts to, mad old lady kills herself amongst the sweet peas, and it comes up 9:37. He's like, dude, you've just given away the fucking end. Nothing's happening now. It's
Charts
just
by
wind.
Mystic Meg.
Exactly. And on top of all of that, he's like, I don't want to die like this, I don't want to die like this, I'm going to sit in my cupboard with my conveniently placed tube. He's like, right, okay, so this is a murder pit you're sitting in, not a shed. And it's like, your conveniently placed tube, and you go, I don't want to die like this, don't want to die like this, completely away from the plants, everything's sealed off, everyone in there's sealed off. And then when he goes, don't want to die like this, he comes out to see Zooey Deschanel. And what does she do? After all of this, we've got to protect the girl. We've got to protect the girl. She comes out with the girl in tow.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And then they stand and looking at each other going, I love you, I love you. The kid's like, oh, don't I get some say in this? Hello?
That fucking wind's coming!
Yeah. Yeah, let's outrun the wind. Oh, for goodness sake.
She's like the wind through the tree.
But, and the script is terrible. The script is fucking awful in places. The exposition drops are so leaden, especially that guy with the fucking, I think it's the trees, I think it's the plants, I think it may be the trees, because if you see the trees, some trees get the ants to do things by just sending off pheromones. Oh, here's all my exposition drop. Yeah. Now I'm going to go this way and die. I was like, right, fine, thanks. Okay, cheers. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I don't know who you are. I mean, I'll tell you what it reminded me of when I was sitting there watching it today was The Room. When we were watching The Room in the Prince Charles Theatre, and then random people would just turn up and half the theatre would just shout, who the fuck are you? That's exactly how I felt all the way through this. Just random people would just turn up and just leave information and then just die. It's like, yeah. So it's like, oh, right, brilliant. Okay, random people dead. Great. And I just felt like there was a really cool idea. Yeah. And it could have been a really good Quatermass episode.
It could have been.
It could have been a really good one. And I was constantly reminded by of Bob Peck in Edge of Darkness.
Yeah.
With the whole thing of Gaia and the black orchids.
There you go. That was from that did it all correctly.
Yeah, because
or should I say TV series?
Because it inferred that it was going to happen slowly, and then it was going to just basically build up. I've actually got that indoors.
I really must give it a watch.
But then it's this old bollocks of just like, oh, it only happened on the eastern seaboard. Oh, right, okay.
Cheers for that.
What? Oh, right, okay. And then it's suddenly, oh, here we are in the French land. I am talking French. I am in
French land.
Yes, it is French land. We know that it is French land. It looks a bit like the park we were in earlier, but yes,
it's France.
We are France. We're going to and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, everyone has stopped. It is happening again. It's like, oh, right, brilliant. The end.
They all walking around with stripy jumpers, like a little red neck,
little
like
ring
a chief around the neck,
little,
and a
little
beret.
necklace of garlics around the neck as well,
and pushing bicycles.
Right, yeah, playing the theme to a low on their on kazoos as they go past. And it just like the whole film just felt lazy all the way through. It felt like they had all the scenes in place. They just didn't bother to put anything together. And Mark Wahlberg just, I mean, I tell you what summed it up. To me, summed it up in a nutshell, and you can actually see the moment when all credibility and all hope is lost in Mark Wahlberg's world when he talks to that fucking plant, and it's a plastic plant.
And if you just look very closely, you'll see his soul leaving his body on an
frame
express train.
475 of that particular scene.
It's waving.
You can actually see the life depart from behind his eyes.
It kind of goes dark slightly if you watch. The flame goes out.
And Zooey Deschanel, I have to say, cute, whatever. If that floats your boat, fine. But what doesn't float my boat?
Yeah,
retard. Now, I've got to. That may sound really horrible and nasty. And
Actually, it probably does.
Yes, and I apologise. I don't mean to use that. Well, I am using that word disparagingly, but she just looked like she just hopped off the special bus for 90% of that fucking film. She did. She's standing there. There was one scene.
Window lickers anonymous.
There was one scene where they go into the. I think it's just after they get off the train and they go into the first building.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone into this building and everyone's looking around. Oh no, it's in the cafe. Go into the cafe. They go into the cafe, and she walks in, and it just looks like she basically had a seizure, and they put her on a trolley and just pushed her into the shop. And she just kind of rolls in with her eyes still fixed on the horizon as she just kind of glides past. Yeah. And it's like, then you realise her entire acting is like that, the whole thing, all the way through. The kid doesn't do anything to engender any kind of interest. No. John Leguizamo at least has the good common grace to tap out early by fucking slashing his own wrist. And some of the death scenes were actually extremely comical, because I'll tell you what, put Yakit Isaks over that car as it speeds up. tell me that wasn't fucking good. As it drives down the road. I mean, what from the last two comedies we've watched, what is the funniest bit in Hot Fuzz when they got the swan in the car and it just rolls into the tree, and then in fucking Big Lebowski when he drops the fag in his lap and he goes straight into the bin. It was no different. It's absolutely no different. He's just if I give you a penny, how much would, and I kept giving you a penny every day, how much would I have given you by the end of the... And, and I still want to know one other thing. When that car goes like that and it smashes into the fence, it smashes into the tree, two people come out the front windscreen. Right? An old Leguizamo or whatever gets out the front seat.
Yeah.
Gets out the front seat.
Oh.
So how did the other two come through the windscreen if he's in the way?
I have no fucking idea.
So he did pretty well anyway. He done pretty well by that point. And I was more... You know what I was more interested about? Right at the very beginning. Yeah. The girl who's sitting in the park talking to her friend. Mm-hmm. That was the girl from Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, right.
I didn't realise that, and she was blonde instead of the ginger.
Truly among us.
And I was like, wow, there. I spent longer concentrating on where I'd seen her before than I did on the rest of the film in total.
Lovely.
Yeah, there's just ridiculous leaps in logic. There's stupid fucking moments.
Oh, God, yeah.
The characters just turn up to just to fucking die. The final explanation is like love conquers all, or it just stopped. Oh, by the way, here's a graph. It's going to stop at 9:37. By the way, here's the time, 9:37. Dun, dun, dun. There you go. Everything is just so mishandled in every way. And you know what?
Cool.
This was actually a film I genuinely thought this will be the one which proves shit cover goggles as a concept, because I actually thought this would be the one we go in thinking this is fucking terrible, but actually be won over by it, because I thought, it's got something in it. I thought
there are bits in it that are very good.
And yeah, especially the bit when they drive in
bits.
Yeah, exactly. And they're driving through the forest and they see all the people hanging off the trees. It's brilliant. Some of the imagery was fantastic, but it was just not enough. So, yeah, unfortunately, it didn't prove shit cover goggles is a theory. It just proved that shit films are shit films. And it proves that Mark Wahlberg should never pretend to be a teacher at all. No. Ever. Because he's and the main theme is nature will never know. Ooh. In which case, really? Because I thought there was these people called biologists who work this shit out. It's nature we may never know. Ooh. It's like, what, is fucking Damon Lindelof wander into the screen at some point? I've got a cactus and it hasn't killed me. Woo! Oh,
scary cactus.
Yeah, scary cactus. So, yeah. So, overall, Darren, what do you think?
At best, I think the film is meh. It really is. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like going from a room.
You look like you actually been affected by the wind at that point. You just suddenly stopped talking.
Calculator.
Don't go near the window. I can see my house from here. Boom. Look, Wendy, I can fly.
So yeah, overall, best the film is meh.
Yeah, the one thing I would say, especially given our history of the 145 episodes so far, I would not say that, and this is the only good thing I can say about it, I would not say this is the worst film in existence, the way that a lot of people have planted it. But anyway, but the fact of the matter is, it's basically a substandard Twilight Zone episode.
It's not even that, 'cause there's no twist. This is the only M. Shamalamadingdong
okay.
film
In
that doesn't have
because
this massive sort of fuck puncher.
Because it doesn't have a twist, I say then it means it's more of an Outer Limits.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But you know what I'm trying to say. It's like it's a film which it feels like a TV play for today. It shouldn't have been as long as it is. It shouldn't have been as. And it shouldn't have had people just walking in and go, hey, guess what? I think... Oh, especially the bit when they're in the fucking cafe. I'm getting flashbacks now. They're in the cafe, and they're all looking at the map. And then someone just stands up and goes, 90 miles away from here is not near this place, which is where the things are happening. And then everyone just goes, poof, like fucking Looney Tunes. Everyone's just gone. Right. All the cars are driving off. And everyone's going, just drive, John. Just drive. And it's like, why? Why? What? Anyway... So yes, meh. Yeah, but it's not the worst film we've ever seen.
No,
I think it's been harshly dealt with, but I don't think. I think that was because it was in relation to other films at the time.
Right.
I don't think it's the worst film. I mean, you look at The Room, or you look at fucking House of the Dead, or Birdemic, or we haven't done Birdemic.
Oh, let's not do Birdemic.
Yeah. But we've, it isn't even as bad as fucking Clash of the Titans, Harry Hamlin, and it's just not. It's just a underwhelming pile of ill-conceived shit.
Yep.
There you go. Right, shall we do feedback?
Let's do feedback.
Feedback. Send your feedback. Lots of feedback. More feedback.
Right, okay, so we got some feedback. We'll give you we'll play between the two of us.
Yep, we certainly
will. And who's our first one?
Our first one is Gareth Lloyd.
Gareth Lloyd.
Gareth Lloyd.
Sorry, carry on.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that.
Right, so Gareth says, hi guys.
Hello.
Well, this one's a load of old tosh, isn't it?
Yes.
It's silly and pretentious. I'd heard bad things about it, but when it was on recently, I sat down with the missus to give it a watch. Now, for the first half hour, I thought it could be okay, which I thought we both said that, didn't we?
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's not a complete bag of shit.
No.
It had some good atmospheric moments in it, people dropping off roofs, etc. But as it goes on, it just falls apart. And as endings go, it's utter rubbish. In fact, it doesn't have an ending. It just has that daft shot in France.
Yeah.
All it's missing in the
final.
Yeah, Zut de Laws. Sacré bleu. Eric Cantona. All it's missing is a final scene of Mark Wahlberg realising it was all a dream. M. Night Shamalamadingdong seems to make strange choices. Sixth Sense is good. I enjoy Unbreakable, but the rest of the film seemed to have the same depth and plotting of the crap home movies he includes on DVDs.
No.
So until next week, I'm off to trim my bush. Yes, this is a euphemism. Thanks, guys. Gareth. Cheers, Gareth.
Cheers, Gareth.
I have to disagree with him there because I think Signs is a great movie.
Yeah, I think Signs is going to be an us versus them because everyone seems to hate it.
I don't. Well, I can see why, and I must admit the whole thing of the the reasoning behind how stuff happens. I think that's going to stretch some people.
The thing with Signs, and I've said it before, but the thing with Signs is more about faith. It's not about the alien invasion. Just like if you listen to Mark Commode and Simon Mayo, apparently Jaws isn't about a shark, it's about infidelity. Yeah, don't worry. You have to listen to it. It explains it, but it's not about a shark as much as you think it's about a shark. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a very roundabout, circuitous thing. But anyway,
that's like G.I. Joe is actually about suffragettes. It's a metaphor for what they went through.
Yeah, I think.
What?
Yeah, yeah. It is something like that. It's a bit weird. Right. Okay. Next piece of feedback. Moving swiftly on before I have to explain any further, but because otherwise it'll bore the shit out of me. But yeah. The next one is from Lee Harvey, Aussie on last night's Marines outing. But he writes, Shamalamadingdong turd. Hi guys, Aussie here of badass Colonial Marines fame. Great game tonight. I thought I would leave some feedback for a change. Are you ready? Rubbish. What a load of old crap. Run like the wind. No, wait. Run away from the wind. It's as if the toxin not only makes people want to kill themselves, but also do it in the most inventive way possible with the nearest object to hand. Although now I think about it, that is kind of funny, but it is still a crap film. The stupid whoosh noise whenever the plants are attacking. What was that about? Isn't that the same technique they used to scare people in Scooby-Doo? I've seen it described as a decent B-movie. Balls. The Faculty is a decent B-movie. Well, I thought so anyway. Yeah, we should do that film. That's quite a good film. Tremors was a decent B-movie. Yep, no complaints there. The Happening is a load of old nonsense. Give me Eddie Izzard wandering around being a dick in the BBC version of the Day of the Triffids over this crap any day. Shamalama, fuck off. Signed, Lee. There you go.
Cheers, Lee.
Yes. So there you go. Next piece of feedback is from Halo Man Lamont. Well, this is a big one. Do you want to take this one on?
Yeah, okay,
go for it.
It's a big one. What, you mean it's got more than 4 lines, did it?
It does have more than 4 lines.
Okay.
Have fun with that one.
All right, here we go. So, Halo Man has this to say. Dear Lee and Darren.
Hello.
Sorry to say that I will not be able to feedback on The Happening. This is absolutely nothing to do with the release of Aliens Cult. What do you mean? What do you mean my order's been delayed for 2 days? So you mean to say that I can't play online with the group and have no excuse for putting off watching The Happening? Curse you, Amazon! Sticks fist. Fuck. Okay, let's get this over and done with then.
Right.
I have a love-hate relationship with M. Night. I love his early work, Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, etc., and hate his later work, from Signs onwards.
Mm-hmm.
This film is no exception to that. First off, you have Marky Mark as a leading man. And we're all familiar with his back catalogue, cough, Planet of the Fucktards.
Yes.
Cough. Plus, if that's not enough, he's playing a fucking hipster. Really?
Is he?
No, he's playing sort of like I think he's playing a typical teacher himself.
He's trying to.
Well, yeah, but in the way that he dresses and stuff like this.
But the way
know,
it's really quite funny because the way he acts like a teacher, he acts like a religious ed teacher being given a philosophy class and given a biology class, and he just like 1 minute he's like, nobody knows nothing. You can make a theory, but that's it. And it's like, no. You can work it all out, you silly fuck, and don't give it the woo.
Yeah.
Damon Lindelof.
You bloody Lindelof. Anyway, getting back to this.
Lint chocolate tears.
Let's see. Yeah, he is playing a fucking hipster. That part of the film where he's in the middle of the field freaking out isn't him panicking due to toxin. It's Marky Mark realising what a piece of shit he's in. And if you look carefully, you can actually see his soul leave his body. We did say that. See? We're not the only one who could see this.
Yeah. Maybe we should be like Ghostbusters 3 is going around Hollywood just checking out soulless...
What, PK meter?
Yeah, PK... checking out soulless actors.
Anyway, moving on.
Carry on.
Okay. Then we have Zooey Dutch Channel.
That's not Dutch. No, he is.
Yeah, he's put Dutch Channel.
Is he? Where's that? Where's show me? Oh, he spelled it Duchanel.
Is it Duchanel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine.
Dutch Channel would have a T in it.
Oh, of course it would. Sorry, it's very late.
But Dutch Channel works.
Okay, then we have Zoe Duchanel.
Yeah.
Douche. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you should have spelled that. She of the big, round, unblinking fucking eyes. Seriously, someone get her some fucking eye drops, for Christ's sake. Then there's this pointless cheating story arc she has. What you had for dinner with another man. How could you betray me like this? It's worse than if you had just fucked him, love.
Yeah, I had tiramisu.
It is. Plus the guy on the phone, nice poker face there, love, who she treating with is M. Night making his cameo appearance. Only John Leguizamo, is it Leguizamo? Leguizamo.
Yeah, Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, him, Blue Lagoon. Only John Blue Lagoon steps away from this film with any dignity, and that's only because he has the common decency to die a third of the way through. Now we get on to the actual plot itself. Firstly, I'm fairly sure that if it takes more than a chemical switch in the brain, or that it takes more than a chemical switch in the brain being turned off to make you kill yourself. I've met people with depression and know that it's more than a chemical imbalance. The whole explanation, I think, is rather insulting to those people who suffer from depression and other such conditions.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, thinking about it. The writing is clunky. We have characters actually dropping exposition in the form of, did you know that plants can, etc. Then we have the fact that the plants seem to have evolved to being able to deliver this toxin, seemingly overnight. It's a fucking pansy, M. Night, not fucking Wolverine. I've got this image of this little flower now in a Wolverine outfit, giving it a real sort of grumpy expression.
Yeah.
Evolution takes thousands of years, you fucktard. Then we have this hand-wavy explanation that nature is strange and mysterious and we will never truly know. No, M. Night. Nature has rules. It's not that mysterious. And why the fuck was there the one woman at the beginning and the bloke at the end that seemed to be immune to the toxin? It's never explained. I feel like Damon Lindelof should be off to the side, waving his fingers and doing the woo.
There you go, see? Rob, do you want to just come and take over? Because we've just used all your points.
We're going to have to start paying him some money for royalties, I think. But it's not all doom and gloom with this film. Some of the deaths are quite creative and unintentionally funny. The famous scene when Marky Mark talks to the houseplant and finds its plastic was funny despite how stupid it was. You can also make a drinking game out of the amount of times M. Night wedges in the word happening into the film. But I'm afraid this shit I'm afraid this shit far outstays the goods with this film. It's not the worst of M. Night's catalogue. I reserve that for Signs. But I think that this film is rightly lambasted. It's shit. Speak to you later, lads. Bob Lamont. P.S. This went on so long, but thanks to Amazon, I had more free time than I thought I would this week. Right, okay.
Yeah, because of the Colonial Marines not turning up.
Indeed.
I think that's unduly harsh on Signs.
I think so. I think Signs is a much better film.
Yeah, I think Signs at least has some chills. It has a ridiculous ending, but again, as I said, I think that's all about faith. I
think it does alien invasion very well.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
But yes, there is one massive logic flaw, which obviously everyone knows. But one day we're going to do Signs. We're definitely going to get to Signs, and then it'll be a fight. But anyway, right. So the next piece of feedback is from Chris Johnson, who writes to say, "Hello, Lee and Darren. I tried to watch The Happening again, but things didn't go to plan, and this is why. I asked my partner if he'd wanted to watch The Happening so we could do some feedback together, and he said, I'm not watching that big pile of shit again. It's just too bloody boring. So that's my partner's feedback. Cheers, Chris."
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Chris. There you go. Well, there you go. I got the nice short ones this week.
You certainly did.
Who's sending me texts? All right, hold on. I'll pass this over to you. This is Martin Thompson. I shall read that text. Oh, you know what? I'm going to read that text out on the podcast.
Okay.
Danny Graydon writes, "How are you finding the Aliens game? Is it sheer fandom getting you? Is sheer fandom getting you by?" Well, Danny, in answer to your question, yes, it is. The single player is shit. But anyway, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. But, okay.
Multiplayer is wicked.
Let's get on to Martin Thompson's feedback.
Martin Thompson's feedback. Go on, carry on.
He says, "Hello, Tony Stark and Colonel Sanders."
Yay.
There's a superhero team right there.
Kentucky Fried Iron Chicken.
Yes. Right.
Why have I got the Family Guy chicken bird dressed up as Boba Fett in my head?
No idea. Carry on.
Sorry,
Anyway.
carry on.
This is the second time I've seen it happening, and although it has a shit reputation, I quite like it. The film is a great concept, and M. Night Shamalamadingdong. That's not actually written there. I'm just reading it like that, by the way.
It's easier than trying to read the name.
Oh, it certainly is, yeah. Directs it well, with some of the suicide scenes being quite stark, especially the people hanging from the trees.
Yeah.
Even a cool breeze is frightening in this movie. Wind hasn't been scary since Pavarotti got on the packed tube train after a curry. However, it all feels like a blanded version of The Walking Dead. Marky Mark looks like he's perpetually confused, and Zoe Deschanel, despite being very fanciful, seems to be phoning it in. Just like Jurassic Park last week, we have two people lumbered with a kid who don't have kids yet grow to love them. Why does it take 3 months for all the schools to reopen? I'm fine with the explanation for it all, and just happy to leave it as a mysterious happening. Although they did hammer it home a bit at the end, stressing that it happened. If it had happened in any other place, that would prove the professor correct. Cue the French. Actually, speaking of zombie horror films, or zombie film shows. With all its news coverage, why did they find a radio hanging on a fence? It reminded me a bit of the Night of the Living Dead. So it was a bit bland in all, and the dialogue was functional at best. But I can't help liking it. Plus, the 90 minutes it doesn't outstay. Plus, at 90 minutes it doesn't outstay its welcome. Cheers, Martin.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. The whole thing about the truck just sitting in the field.
Yeah,
makes me laugh, because it's like, surely the plants were reacting to things more sensitively as it was going along. So if you were on your own, just in a field, then you were safe. But if you were on your own in the field later on, then you weren't safe. This guy obviously got out of his truck and went off to kill himself somewhere, way before Marky Mark got there with his funky bunch.
Why would he be affected? That's the thing.
Exactly, because no one thought it through.
Because shut up, that's why.
And that is the end of that. Next piece of feedback is from Pete Kelk. It just happens to be the fastest feedback we've ever received, because he must have just literally heard it, gone out, watched the film, and then just came in straight back and... But anyway, he writes... Pete obviously does the Shonky Lab, which you can find at shonkylab.co.uk and on Rogue 2 Podcasting Network and on iTunes.
Yes.
Right. And he writes, "Evening, chaps. So I guess this week your postbag will be a little light. I thought I'd take one for the team and watch The Happening." So, The Happening. Well, it wasn't very good, was it really? I'd like to expand on it, but frankly, what is there to expand upon? Wind blows, plants generate toxin, make people commit suicide, not everyone dies, the end. It's not really shocking. I wasn't on the edge of my seat, and I don't feel like he got his we're ruining the world point across. It's not even really meh, Pete. P.S. Not one single email regarding Star Trek Insurrection to the Shonky Lab. I can only assume that all Black Doggers agree with us that it's great. Well,
he obviously didn't listen.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. shonkylab@gmail.com. Just remind them what Star Trek Insurrection is like. Anyway, and the last piece of written feedback goes to Ollie Peters. Darren, would you like to read that?
I will read it. Blimey. Oh, man, you really give me the long ones, don't you?
I do.
Okay, so Ollie writes, "Hey, dudes, quickly writing this after our alien bug hunt.
Yep.
What a weird shit film, but Zoe sessional thingy. Cheers, Ollie." That's it. So he thought Zoe Deschanel was the best thing out of it there.
Do you know what? Her eyes are so big, I think if someone suddenly crept up behind her and shocked her, they'd just roll out of her head. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Ollie. And yes,
cheers, fella.
Well done, Marine. That's all I can say about that. Right, let's move on to some MP3 feedback. Well, firstly, before we go into that, we have to consult our little oracle in his matchbox. Little tiny old nostalgia cricket. I still can't see his name, even fucking years on.
Nostalgia
cricket. And he came out of his little matchbox to say the following.
Hello. This is the Nostalgia Cricket, and I remember the good old days when M. Night Shyamalan was a fresh-faced young filmmaker who could surprise us all with a twist in the tale. But now it seems that M. Night Shyamalan was something of a one-trick pony that's long overdue to be minced and distributed in a Findus lasagna.
There you go. Let's put him back in his little box.
Yeah, cover him up with a little bit of cotton wool.
Cotton wool. Bless him. Thank you to the Nostalgia Cricket. Hey, I said his name.
You certainly did.
Yes, fantastic. Well, yes, I think horse meat definitely kind of sums it up. polluting the cinematic gene pool. Right, okay, well, we better move on. And our next piece of feedback is from our friend overseas in the States. It is Mr. Eric Edens, a.k.a. Maybe Squee. And he sent in a little MP3. He sent me MP3 feedback. So let's see if he likes The Happening.
Okay, guys. I'm not going to watch this movie again because I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times already. Yes, I've seen The Happening 4 or 5 times. I really think it's underrated and also probably overrated. Let me explain. The film sucks. Mark Wahlberg, Zooey Deschanel, John Leguizamo, they really phoned it in. Just all of it. It's horrible. But the concept, I really like the concept. The idea that we've pissed off Mother Nature and she can do something about it is pretty cool. There's some games coming out, video games, that sort of fall along this line of making people zombies through fungus. A little different, obviously, because in The Happening, they squander that great idea, and hopefully these video games will be good at it. But the point is, the idea is great to me. Will I watch it again just for you guys? Probably not. But if it's on TV before you guys air, I might watch it again and send you some more feedback. Don't hold your breath, though. Well, unless the plants are trying to kill you, then you better hold your breath.
Cheers for that, Eric.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Yes, and the game you're thinking about is Last of Us, which will be out in June. And you know what? I agree with him. It's like there is something at the heart of it. It is, as we said before, it's like a Quatermass episode or an Outer Limits. There's something there. And I was talking to someone at work today about it because I was watching it at work. And what's it? There was the one guy was saying, "Oh yeah, plants wouldn't do that. Plants couldn't do that." And I tell you what, if you get a chance, go on the BBC website or go on YouTube and Google up that plant that fucks around with ants. Have you seen that?
No.
Okay. Basically, it's a spore, and what it does is to spread itself. It infects an ant. The ant becomes like a zombie that works on behest of the plant, and then basically goes off to another tree. And when it gets to another tree, it gets nervously locked to lock its pincers on this other tree. then what happens is the plant, the fungus, grows straight out of this thing's head.
Oh.
Just literally, so it controls the ants until it gets to a place and then fucking goes bonkers. Seriously, look it up. Fungus-controlled ants or something like that.
Wow.
And watch it, because it's like the creepiest fucking thing you've ever seen. So, you know, as much as that happening is kind of a bit crazy bonkers, it's not ridiculous idea. It just wouldn't have happened as quick as it did. And it's just a shame that the idea was squandered. But Last of Us does look good.
Yes, it does. So, I've been waiting for that for a while now.
So thank you very much for that, Eric. And, you know, if you really loved us, you would have watched it. But or maybe not. Anyway, right. So, time to move on to the last feedback of the evening, which is, of course, Mr. Jim Moon. So, Jim, do you like The Happening?
The Happening. Well, what can I say about The Happening? Well, for a start, you absolute bastards. I'd avoided this heap of shit until now. Dear Christ. And having watched it, I was absolutely bloody right to. I mean, credit where credit's due, though. I didn't see the big twist coming, and I didn't expect it to come in the first 5 minutes. I mean, what an unbelievable left-field plot twist. Mark Wahlberg is a teacher. Who'd have believed it? Well, not me. And by the 10-minute mark, I could hardly believe the fucker was an actor either. Dear Christ. What happened in this film? Did everyone in it have a major acting bypass? It was fucking terrible. I mean, oh my God. If we didn't have Marky Mark to put up with, we had Zooey fucking Des chain my eyes out and call me a cunt. What a slack-jawed, empty, vacant bitch. I've never seen her act with any conviction whatsoever. I'm quite sure if she sat on a drawing pin, she'd go and fly off round the room, because surely she must be just an animated blow-up doll, the vacuous tart. Dear God. In fact, if you go to realdoll.com, I'm fairly sure you can actually buy a Zooey all of your own. Though I understand the motorization and the Hollywood agent are those kind of very special extras that are called in the trade a twat tax. And oh my God, the plot. I mean, I know M. Night Shamalamadingdong said he wanted to make a big fun B-movie, but Jesus Christ, the plants attacking people, the wind, oh my God, what were you thinking? I mean, the wind and the trees can be very scary. See The Omen and Predator. However, the wind and the trees attacking people for some vaguely undefined reason? Oh, fuck off. Mind you, with bloody Marky Mark and Zooey on the prowl, I can hardly blame them. If I was a dandelion, I'd be pulling myself out of the ground, hurtling down their throats and trying to find the fucking on and off switch inside their hollow shells. And then, having disabled these egregious automata, I'd be coming for you, M. Night Shyamalan. And then we'd find out who put the bomb in the bomb, who put the rhyme in the Ramalama-ding-dong. Sir, you are the dipshit. And the dip-dip-dip-dip, who was that man? I'll tell you who he is. He's a complete cunt. For fuck's sake, the wind. Jesus. The plants did it. Fucking vegetable did it, if you ask me.
I'm going to take a guess and say that I don't think he liked it. Well, at least he's given us our end theme, I think.
I think so too.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Jim. Yes. I think that's wrapped it up nicely. So, yeah, I think we can put a lid on The Happening quite nicely. Yes, and time to wrap things up. But before we do, obviously, we have to give what's going to be in our next film. Indeedy. Well, we won't be here next week. Let's just get that out of the way now. We won't be here. We'll be back on the 26th, Tuesday the 26th, for the next film. And the next film is going to be a rose-tinted specs. We won't be doing our Virgin Veil mystery goggles or whatever the fuck we're calling it right now.
Yeah.
But we will be doing that after this film.
Right.
So, the next film will be a rose-tinted specs. and it's quite an old classic.
I think it's going to be a quotathon.
It's a quotathon. It is definitely a quotathon. It is a film which really kind of cemented one actor into one role that he would be playing for the rest of his life. Yes, and basically had more macho bullshit than you could probably swallow in a single sitting. But it's there, it's dripping with testosterone from every single frame. We are talking about the 80s action classic, and I say classic in inverted commas, Commando.
Oh, yes, baby.
Oh, yes. You remember, Sully, when they said I'd kill you last? I lied. So, ladies and gentlemen. Bennett.
Let of steel.
Do it. Take the knife and stick it in me. I've done it. Anyway, so, yes. Get your Arnold Schwarzenegger voices to the ready. Get ready, and we will be coming back on the 26th for Commando. And also, don't forget our Tommy Wiseau Blu-ray The Room competition.
Giveaway extravaganza.
Send in your pictures of your made-up Tommy Wiseau to, and along with the feedback for the Commando, to blackdog@geekplanetonline.com. Just don't put up the pictures of the Tommy Wiseaus on the Facebook group, because we'll do that once it's all done, once the winners have been announced. So, there you go. Go off and make a Tommy Wiseau in the week we're off, and then when we come back, watch Commando.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Darren, thank you very much for staying awake, because you look like you're barely awake after last night's...
I am the Walking Dead at the moment.
Yeah, after last night's... After last night's Colonial Marines thing. And if anyone gets to hear this on Thursday, when it's released, I'll see some of you online on the Xbox around about 9 p.m. GMT.
Mm-hmm.
For a bit of Let's Rock action.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I was going with that. So, if not, we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time for Commando.
Yes.
Yes.
Get to the chopper. Oh, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Yeah.
You fucking idiot. Right, okay. Speak to you soon. Take care. Goodbye.
We go to